Ma'am, yes or no, are you familiar with anybody referred to as Prince?
No.
Ma'am, earlier I had asked you some questions about that text message that you had received, is that right?
Yes.
And you don't have any memory today about that, nor you're saying you didn't at the grand jury, is that true?
Correct.
John, if I could approach the overhead. If you don't recall how many contacts you had with that number?
No, I don't.
Purpose of the record, I'm placing back on the overhead 309. Ma'am, I'm just going to direct your attention to this number here, 949-572-8546. Do you recognize that number?
No. Well, from the paperwork you've shown me, yes.
I'm sorry, you just connected.
From the paperwork you've shown me, yes.
Oh, okay, but outside of that, do you recognize this number?
No.
Okay. But when you say the paperwork, I previously have shown you this paperwork before.
The records, yes.
Okay. I'm just going to place 398 on the overhead. Ma'am, would you agree with me that's the same number, 949-572-8546?
Can I see the other number again, please?
Sure.
Yes.
I'm just going to show you the last one, exhibit 308. Just have you direct your attention to this number, 949-572-8546. Is that the same number?
Yes.
Just going to go to the second page. I'm going to go to line 74. Ma'am, this number over here, do you recognize this? Sorry. Right there.
Yes.
How do you recognize that?
That's my number.
On June 24th, 2013, 10:49 a.m., 8-second seizure time from the number 949-572-8546 to your number. Is that accurate?
Yes.
And elapsed time of 4 seconds, and then additional information relating to that call. Do you remember that contact on June 24th?
No, I don't.
Line 103, 424, 359, 14-second seizure time, 949-572-8546. You recognize that number?
Yes.
And that's 5-second elapsed time. Remember that call?
No, I don't.
Just going to go back to page 9. Being at line 94. You recognize 624. Can you see that right now?
Yes.
6/24/2013, 4 p.m. Text message originating from 949-572-8546 to your number 860-845-4518.
Yes, I see it.
Okay, does that refresh your memory?
No.
Okay. And directing your attention to now 105, line 105. June 24th, 2013, at 4:01. The seizure time 16 seconds from 949-572-8546 to your number 860-845-4518. Elapsed time 3 seconds. Remember receiving that phone call?
No, I don't.
Last one I have for you. At 1:11. Same date, 6/24, 4:16. Seizure time 4 seconds. Your number, originating number 860-845-4518, called 949-572-8546 for 35 seconds. Do you recall that phone conversation?
No, I don't.
Now, ma'am, at some point, did the police come to your home?
Yes.
And was there a search done of your home?
Yes.
And were you familiar with certain articles of clothing that Ernest Wallace would wear?
Yes.
If I could approach your Honor. Just just going to show you this photograph. Do you recognize the person depicted in this photograph?
Yes.
Who do you recognize that to be?
Bo.
Okay, and just in terms of his dress, do you recognize anything about his dress?
No, that's just the way he would normally wear it, or shorts or sweats.
Okay, and when you say this is normally the way he would wear what?
Like flannels. He liked wearing flannels.
Flannels?
Yeah.
And is that meaning flannel shirts?
Yeah. Yes.
And what about the shoes? Do you recognize the shoes?
No, I do not.
Do you know him to wear red shoes?
I believe he had a pair of red sneakers at one time.
Okay. And with regard to any of these articles of clothing, did you ever see them in your home?
No.
Okay. And you knew the police had come to your home to search, is that right?
Yes.
Did you see them recover any of these items?
No.
Well, this is the next thing. Previously marked as F for identification.
So may I see it?
Sure.
I have an objection. Can I approach you on, please? And I'm just going to show you what's been marked 340A. Yes, do you recognize any of the individuals in this photo?
Yes.
Who do you recognize?
Bo and Aaron.
Okay. And what is Bo wearing?
Flannel blue and white shirt and a t-shirt underneath. And jeans, it looks like, or sweats.
In this series of photographs, actually, if you would just take a look at those, please.
recognize anybody in these photographs?
Aaron and Bo?
And they, Aaron and Bo, you indicated here Bo's wearing what type of shirt?
A flannel shirt with a white t-shirt underneath.
Okay. And Aaron's wearing what?
A white hoodie with sweats or jeans.
And anything different about how they're dressed in these photographs?
No.
Okay. And the photograph that I had just showed you a few minutes ago, which was F for identification, is there anything different? I could put you in your own, please. Anything different about how he's dressed in this photograph? In terms of the shirt?
No.
All right, offer identification.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
I publish, Your Honor. And that's 348, is that right?
Yes.
The photograph I just showed you.
Yes.
Does that depict Bo?
Yes.
And you describe him wearing a blue flannel shirt? Is that right?
Yeah, it looks like a white t-shirt underneath.
You also indicated that he owned a pair of red sneakers.
He may have, I've seen him wearing a pair of red sneakers before.
And then I showed you 331, is that right?
Yes.
There's a series of photos there. You identified Bo and
Aaron.
I asked you about that shirt that he was wearing. It appeared to be the same in both those exhibits.
Yes, okay, see.
Now, after Bo, at some point, Bo is no longer living in your house, is that right?
Correct.
And did you ever recover a blue flannel in your home?
No, not that I recall.
At some point when the police had come and they had searched your home looking for certain articles of clothing and the like, did they have a conversation with you?
Yes.
And was the subject of the conversation about where your sister was?
Yes.
And did you provide information about where your sister was?
I told them I didn't know where she was.
Okay. Did, at that time, you had a phone number for a different phone number for your sister, is that right?
The 940-9656.
Okay. And did you provide that to the police?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Did you indicate to the police, they had also indicated they were looking for Bo, is that right?
They told me that they wanted to speak with both Tanya and Bo and TL, and so they asked me to relay the message to them, and they gave me their card, and I gave them the message.
Did you give them the phone number that you
Yes.
had, the new phone number that you had just started receiving phone calls from your sister?
No.
Okay. Can you explain why you didn't give them that?
I was scared, I guess, because there was so much going on. They were in my house, they wrecked my house, they had guns pointed to me and everything, and I was just really nervous and shaken up.
Okay. So you, a minute ago, you said you'd indicated you'd get them a message.
The police, the gentleman that was there, he asked me if I could get a message to them, asking them to call them, because they had some questions for them, and I did that.
Okay. And so you were cooperating with them?
Yes.
Okay. And yet you didn't give them the number that you knew you had for your sister?
No. I didn't think of it at the time because of everything that was going on.
Okay. Now, ma'am, in terms of your memory, is your memory better or worse today than it was when you appeared in front of the grand jury?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
Has there been any change to your memory since that time?
Objection.
Oral.
probably gotten worse. I've been put on new medication and stuff.
Okay, has that been, had a greater or lesser impact on your memory?
I can't tell.
Okay. Did you know Ernest Wallace and Carlos Ortiz to use any drugs?
Yes,
Okay. And did you ever see them use any drugs?
yes.
What kind of drugs did you see them?
Marijuana. They would smoke, what you call like a
Well, let me just ask you this.
Well,
Did you,
she's in the middle of an answer, so you may continue.
what you call like a blunt filled with PCP. They would do cocaine.
okay. Did you ever see them do that?
I've seen them smoke marijuana,
Okay.
and I knew that they were smoking.
I didn't ask whether you knew. I said, did you ever see them?
I've seen them smoking, yes,
Smoking what?
marijuana,
Okay, marijuana.
and it may have been also PCP because
Okay, just in terms of, did you actually,
You may finish your answer.
it may have been PCP because it has like a different smell to it, but it's rolled up in the same cigar wrap
okay, and where did you see them doing that?
outside of the home on the porch.
Okay, and when did you see them?
Anytime that they wanted to smoke, they would go out to the back porch.
But in terms of, do you remember being asked about whether you had ever, what you knew about, to your knowledge, about their drug use?
What do you mean?
Okay. Do you recall previously being asked about what you knew about their drug use?
You asked me at the grand jury, I believe.
Okay. And do you recall indicating, this would be page 19, 1-19. Do you recall, I'm not sure because I never saw them, you know, like doing it because I was never around, so I don't know how they did it. I just know they did it.
Yes,
And that was from what you had heard, is that right?
no, I knew that,
I have an objection to quoting without quoting the entire answer.
I just read your whole answer.
The previous question should be asked as well.
May, if you could read the previous question and answer as well.
Do you recall whether you actually saw them doing this?
Is that your previous question?
No, it's not.
Oh, if you could read the previous question and answer.
Did you say, I'm not sure because I never saw them, you know, like doing it, because I was never around them, so I didn't know how they did it, I just know that they did it?
I'll do it on cross, Your Honor.
Was that my last question?
Well, I object, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
Please.
Did you understand my last question, ma'am?
I object to that.
Sustained.
Did I properly read your answer?
I object.
She has a transcript in front of her.
May I approach?
You may.
Page 19, line 8, Ms. Rankin, just read that.
okay. Okay.
Okay. So my question is just simply, did you ever see them doing it?
Only when they would be out on the back porch when I would take the dog out, but I would see them smoking the cigar.
Okay. So when you were asked and you indicated you had never saw them doing it because I was never around, was
No, I
that
wasn't.
accurate or not accurate?
That was accurate because I was always in my bedroom. The only time that I would see them was when I would go into the kitchen to get something to eat or go outside to take my dog outside.
Okay. Well, I presume you knew that or you remembered that when you were asked that question back at the grand jury. Is that right?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
if I remembered or not. Like, I
So do you
I answered
remember?
you truthfully at that moment when I was at the grand jury of what I remembered.
Okay. So do you think your memory is now better today than it was at the grand jury?
Objection, Your Honor.
Um, I just remember more things, like, I could, remember more things about, like, their drug, I know a lot about their drug use, like, as far as, seeing them outside and knowing how they act after they're on it, because there's been certain situations at the house.
Okay. My question was, did you see them doing it? And you indicated, I'm not sure because I never saw them, like doing it, because I was never around them.
Well, I never, like, I knew they were doing it because you could smell it, but I've never seen them, like, rolling it up and setting it up and doing it themselves, no.
So if you were there and you were around them, and I think you've already said you saw them smoking.
They were smoking a cigar outside, yes.
Okay. And so therefore you were around them and you were able to see them.
Yeah.
Okay. So was your answer accurate when you said you never saw them? You were, like, doing it because I was never around them. Was that accurate back at the grand jury?
I guess not, because I saw them on the back porch, but briefly, I never saw them, what they put in there, or,
Okay. So you don't know what they put in there?
no.
Okay. And who have you talked to prior to outside of your attorney, who have you talked to about you testifying in this case?
What do you mean?
Well, you're here on the stand today.
Yes.
Prior to you taking the stand today, who have you talked to about?
About the case?
Yes, and about your being called as a witness.
My sister, my father?
Okay. Your sister, you've spoken to her?
Yes.
Okay. And your father?
Yes.
Anybody else?
Shay?
Shay? Who's Shay?
Cheyenne?
Is that Princess,
Yes.
at least according to Bo?
Yes.
Okay. When did you talk to her?
I sent her a text the other day just wondering how her and AVL was doing, and I said that I had to come to court sometime this week.
Okay. And so what accounts for your better memory on this question and your lack of memory on other questions?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection sustained.
Do you know why you're able to remember this information?
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled.
Because I know that, I know Bo used to use drugs, and Charlie Boy.
Okay. But didn't you know that back at the grand jury?
I did, and I believe I told you that they use drugs.
Okay. But you didn't tell us about you watching them, seeing them in contradiction to what you said at the grand jury.
I didn't know what was in it. They were smoking a cigar outside on the back patio when I took the dogs out, but I didn't speak to them.
But now suddenly you know what's in it?
No, I just know because of the distinct smell.
Okay. Well, you never told us about that at the grand jury, did you?
Well, I object to that, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Is that, when you were asked about whether you had seen them doing that, did you tell us about that?
Wasn't asked that question, Your Honor.
You were asked, question, and when they smoke it, do you know whether they would ever smoke it with marijuana cigarettes? Question mark. Because angel dust, you can lace, this is the question, you can lace a marijuana cigarette with angel dust, question mark. Answer, I'm not sure because I never saw them, like doing it, because I was never around them, so I don't know how they did it.
Right. I didn't see how they rolled it or what they rolled it in. I just, they were smoking a cigar outside on the back patio. I don't know what was in it.
Okay, but that's not what you said. You said you were never around. You never saw them. Is that right at the grand jury?
Yes, I would see, I didn't see them. I was always in
Okay.
my room when they were inside my home, but when
Okay.
I would take the dog out, I would see them outside.
But today you're telling us something different. There's something about the smell that you now know there's alleged PCP in the cigar?
Well, there is a distinct smell. to
Okay,
it.
but that's, again, you didn't tell us that when that question was asked.
Objection.
Sustained.
Okay. What accounts for this new information?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Tell us how you know this today.
Because I remembered.
Sorry?
Because I remembered.
Okay. And you would agree with me, that was not part of your statement back at the grand jury?
Cor-
Overruled.
Correct.
And how many other occasions have you had to talk to Princess?
Well, ever since this happened, I call her like once a month maybe, just to check on her and the baby and see how everything is doing.
Okay. And have you talked about the case?
No,
When you say no, no conversation?
no, just ask her how she's holding up, how she's doing to stay strong. God will see us through.
Okay. And your sister, have you talked to her about the case?
No, we don't talk about the case. We just try to block it out and just go on. She's been very sick lately. She's been worse.
And you indicated that her relationship with the defendant is he's like a son?
Yes.
Okay, and yet you haven't spoken about the case.
No, just wondering how he's doing, you know. That's it.
Is there anybody else? Well, when you say how he's doing, do you know he's been on trial?
Well, yeah, 'cause it's on the news.
Okay, and so do you and your sister, you still live together, don't you?
Yes.
Do you talk about the case, what's on the news?
No, we see it, what's on the news.
Okay, so you're sitting in the same room, watching the news.
Yeah.
Do you have then conversation about what is,
Object to the leading.
Objection is sustained.
okay, what conversation have you had, if any, about this case?
Objection.
Overall, limited to any issue of this witness's bias or state in testifying today, as to what you may have heard before coming in testifying today.
We just cry and we say that, you know, we miss him and
My question was, what conversation do you have about the case?
we don't.
Zero.
No.
Okay. And outside of your Shayana, have you spoken to anybody else?
Julie.
And Julie is,
Julie Dion. She's a friend. She's like a sister.
okay. Anybody else?
No, my husband.
Anybody else?
No,
You're certain of that?
not that I could recall.
Okay, well, do you have confidence in your memory to be able to recall who you've spoken to about the case?
Yeah, I believe so.
If I could have a moment, Your Honor, please. Ma'am, when I asked you about the police coming, and they were interested in speaking to your sister and Bo, do you recall sending a text message right after your interaction with them?
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure. When the police had come to and asked you about where your sister and Bo were, do you recall sending, after they had left, do you recall sending a text message?
Yes.
And who did you send a text message to?
Believe it was my sister.
And the text message, do you recall then, as a result of the text message, she called you?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And did you inform her at that time about the police?
Yes, I relayed the message that the police officer had given me to give her.
And was some time after that, some days after that, that she ultimately came back to the home?
Yes.
If I could have a moment, Your Honor? Ma'am, were you aware of any other cars that the defendant owned, just yes or no?
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection is sustained.
Could I come to the side?
You may.
past occasions, did you see the defendant in different types of cars?
Yes.
And did you know him to own certain cars?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of cars did he own?
Objection sustained.
Okay. Did you know him to own a Hummer?
That one, no.
Did you know him to own?
Well, I object to this, Your Honor. I don't think this is consistent with what the...
Objection sustained.
Okay. How many cars did you know him to own?
2.
In June of 2013, did he own those 2 cars?
I believe so.
And those, to your knowledge, were available to him, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I don't have anything further.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Ms. Mercado, I want to ask you a little bit about your family, if I may. You testified that Aaron's dad and your mother were brother and sister.
Correct.
And what was Aaron's dad's name?
Uncle Dennis,
And what was your mother's name?
Ruthie.
And did they live in Bristol, Connecticut when you were living on Lake Avenue?
Yes.
And would you describe the relationship that they had with brother and sister?
They were very close. My mom, helped raise her brothers. She was the oldest out of all of them.
So your mother helped raise Aaron's father, Dennis.
Yes.
And did you see Dennis coming to your house back in the mid-2000 period?
Yes, they would come over on the weekends usually. We would all have breakfast together.
And would Aaron accompany his father when he came over?
Yes, Aaron was over the house all the time.
And describe those visits. You and Aaron were cousins, is that right?
Yes, but he was more like a nephew.
And Tanya, was Tanya there at the time?
Yes, she was.
And so she is also Aaron's cousin?
Yes, she is.
And I think, how old are you, ma'am?
I'm 41,
And how old is Tanya?
39.
So you're a little bit older than Tanya.
Yes, we're 2.5 years apart.
And the two of you are both quite a bit older than Aaron.
Yes.
Do you know how old Aaron is today?
I don't.
20,
In his 20s, 24?
24, 25?
Yeah.
And did you and Aaron have what kind of relationship did the two of you have growing up?
Growing up, we had a good one. I always used to I used to go to all his games. I was team mom at one point for his football games. And
What does that mean, team mom?
Well, I'd bring fruit and pass out the waters and stuff to the players.
And how about the relationship between Tanya and Aaron? Can you describe that?
They always been close, and he was always with her, always wanted, he always, talked to her about things, and he was like her son.
Aaron was like Tanya's son.
Yes.
And this is going back to when he was a youngster.
Yes.
Now, was there a time when Aaron's father passed away?
Yes.
And was that in about 2006?
January 6th of 2006.
And even though his dad had passed away, did Aaron continue coming over to the house, your house on Lake Avenue?
Yes.
And did you observe that he became even closer to Tanya during that time,
He did.
in the aftermath of Dennis's death?
He did.
And were there times when he was living at Lake Avenue?
Yes.
And who was caring for him in the sense of parental caring?
I'm going to object, Your Honor. For all
My parents, and we all would help.
Okay. Now, did there come a time, was Tanya married during this time?
Yes.
Who was she married to?
Mr. Cummings.
What was his first name?
Jeff.
And was there a time when Mr. Cummings left Tanya's house?
Yes.
And what happened then?
Judge, I'm going to object to this.
I'll see counsel.
I forget exactly what question I put to you, Ms. Mercado. Let me try to remember it. Tanya was married to Jeff Cummings,
Correct.
and at some point, Mr. Cummings left Tanya. Is that right?
Tanya left him.
Tanya left him.
Yes.
And what was the reason for that,
Object.
as you understood it?
Because Jeff had an affair with Aaron's mother.
So,
Object,
Jeff,
Your Honor.
Jeff Cummings, well, this followed the death of Aaron's father, is that right?
Yes.
And so after Aaron's father passed away, Tanya's then husband, Jeff Cummings, left Tanya and had an affair with Terry Hernandez, Aaron's mother.
Correct.
And as a result of that, Tanya left Jeff Cummings.
Correct.
And Jeff Cummings moved in with Terry Hernandez and eventually was married. Is that right?
Correct.
And after Tanya left Jeff Cummings, what effect, if any, did that have on Aaron's relationship with Tanya?
It brought them closer.
In what respect?
Very close. Like, she was like a mom figure to him, and he was like a son to her.
And what effect, if any, did that have on the relationship between Aaron and his mother?
It like separated them.
Aaron and his mother became estranged.
Yes.
And was this around the time when Aaron was in high school?
Yes.
And were there long periods of time then when Aaron would live with your family on Lake Avenue?
Yes.
And during this time, your mother and father would help raise him, correct?
Yes.
And you and Tanya would help raise him, right?
Yes.
And during this time, did Tanya have any children?
Yes.
Tell me about her children. How many children does she have?
She has 2 at present time. At that time, she only had 1.
Okay. What was the name of the oldest child?
Jono.
Jono, J-A-N-O?
Yes.
And how old is Jono now?
Now he's 8. He's going to be 9.
So he was born in
6.
2006. And that was right around the time when Aaron's father passed away, is that right?
Yeah. He was born in May.
He was born in May. And do you remember when Aaron's dad died?
January.
So this was about 4 months after Aaron's father passed away.
Yes.
And did a relationship develop between Aaron and Jono?
Yes.
And could you describe that relationship for us as it began?
I'm the godmother, and Aaron is the godfather. And Aaron just attached to that baby, I guess, because of his father not
Object.
being able.
Yeah, after Godfather, the attention sustained.
Did you see Aaron and Jono interacting?
Yes.
And describe that for us.
Jono calls him Daddy Aaron.
Jono calls him Daddy Aaron.
Yes.
And did you see Aaron and Jono engaging in activities together?
Yes.
Could you describe that for us?
He would just play with him all the time. He would, when he got old enough, like footballs, baseballs, basketballs.
These are activities that Aaron and Jono would do?
And Aaron would take him out to eat, like to McDonald's and stuff.
And did Tanya later have a second son?
Yes.
And what was that child's name?
Edward.
And when was Edward born?
2009, I believe.
Okay, so Edward is 6 years old now?
He's 5. He's going to be 6 this year.
And could you describe the relationship between Edward and Aaron?
That's Uncle Aaron.
So Jono calls him Daddy Aaron, yes?
Yes.
And Edward calls him Uncle Aaron.
Yes.
Now, at some point in time, Aaron left high school and went to the University of Florida. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And were there times when Tanya would go to visit Aaron at the University of Florida?
Yes.
Do you remember how many times that happened?
I don't.
And would she take the baby, Jono?
Yes, she would.
And so did Aaron continue to maintain a relationship with Tanya while he was a student at the University of Florida?
Yes.
And during breaks in the school year, did Aaron come back to Bristol?
Yes. Sometimes, I believe. I don't think he came all the time for every break, but I know he would come back home.
You
when
saw
he
him
could.
coming back home?
Yes.
And would he stay at your house?
Yes.
Now, is Jeff Cummings the father of Jono?
Yes.
And could you describe the relationship that he has or had with Jono
He
after
doesn't.
he left?
He never had a relationship with his son.
Would it be fair to say that Aaron is or was his substitute father?
At that time, Aaron and my father were the only father figures Jono had.
So would it be fair to say that Aaron was extremely close to the members of your family?
Yes, we all were.
And this dates back to his high school days, is that right?
Dates back to when he was born.
You've known him since he was born.
Yes.
You were a young person at the time. You were still young, but younger than me. But you were a young adult when he was born, is that right?
Yes.
So you've seen him mature.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you some questions about something that came up on direct examination with Mr. McCauley
Okay.
about drug use. Do you remember those questions?
Yes.
So, is it fair to say that you knew that Bo was a drug user?
Yes.
And how did you know that?
I've seen him high before.
And you were describing to Mr. McCauley a smell that you were familiar with.
Yes.
Describe for us that smell, please.
Well, like, marijuana is like like it's almost like a herbal like smell, but PCP is more like of a plastic burning smell.
So I think you told Mr. McCauley that Bo and Charlie Boy used both drugs,
Yes.
marijuana and PCP.
Yes.
Is angel dust another name for PCP?
Yes.
And so the description that you just gave us is that the smell of marijuana that's being smoked is more of an herbal smell, correct?
Yes.
And the smell of PCP when it's being smoked is something akin to burning rubber,
Yeah, or burning plastic.
burning plastic.
Yes.
So in the spring of 2013, you had occasion to observe both Bo and Charlie Boy high, correct?
Yes.
And I think you said that you observed it from the odors, correct?
Yes.
And so there were times in the spring of 2013 when you smelled this distinctive burning plastic smell, correct?
Yes. Correct.
And these were times when you might be going outside and seeing them smoking or having smoked something,
Yes.
and in the aftermath of it, you could smell this distinctive smell.
Yes.
And that caused you to believe and tell Mr. McCauley that they were smoking PCP,
Yes.
angel dust.
Yes.
Now, is there another symptom or phenomenon that you've observed when someone or when these guys were smoking PCP in the spring of 2013?
One time, Bo came to the house, and he was high on angel dust, what they call dust, on the streets, and I was there by myself with the kids. Tanya had left with
Judge,
TL.
I'm just going to object as to her determination, unless she has some knowledge of what he was high on. I think she can describe his behavior, but
Objection is sustained to, unless she testifies as to having smelled a particular smell or saw something prior
Okay.
to.
Would you finish describing what you observed or what activity Bo was engaged in the spring of 2013?
He would act crazy, erratic, argumentative, would just like sometimes scream, like, I don't know, mumbo jumbo, like it wasn't even English.
And was there did you observe him sweating profusely when he was using angel dust?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
They would just sweat a lot. Like they would always have to wipe themselves because they were always nervous and moving around and real jittery, like I think crazy.
And when you say they, are you talking about Charlie Boy and Bo?
Yes.
Now, I want to, Mr. McCauley was reading you some of your grand jury testimony. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And it was, let me, if I may, I'm just going to read some of it with you. So I'm going to show you, beginning at the bottom of page 18 of, you testified on September 25th, 2013,
Yes.
and this was Mr. McCauley asking you questions,
Yes.
and you said, he asked you, is that marijuana and angel dust, correct?
Yes.
This is line 24. And your answer was, I don't know if they dealt the angel
I'm
dust.
sorry, I'm just going to, could you just back up for the context?
Yes, I'll be happy to. So let me back up to line 17, all right? Question, and Thaddeus and Bo, were they involved in drug dealing? Answer,
Yes.
And what about Carlos Ortiz? Answer, yes. And again, the same types of drugs? Yes. Question, is that marijuana and angel dust? Answer, I don't know if they dealt the angel dust, but as far as using it, yes. How would they use it? They would smoke it, to my knowledge. I'm not sure. And when they smoke it, do you know whether they would ever smoke it with marijuana cigarettes? Because angel dust, do you know, you can lace a marijuana cigarette with angel dust. I'm not sure because I never saw them, you know, like doing it. Because I was never around them, so I don't know how they did it. I just know that they did it. Did you see their behavior at times when they were doing it, meaning after they had done it? Answer, I have. How were they acting? Answer, crazy. When you say crazy, in what way? And then there's an interruption so that you can speak with your attorney outside the grand jury room. Is that right?
Yes,
And then you go back into the grand jury room, correct?
correct.
And then Mr. McCauley says, with regards to angel dust, when you saw them, and I think that's where we left off, you said they were acting crazy. In what way? And your answer was, one incident was when Bo came banging on the door aggressively, and I was home with the boys by myself. And he was saying, let me in the effing door. Let me in the effing door. And I wouldn't let him in because, you know, you could tell by their eyes because they get really wide and they just look crazy. And then skipping a few lines, unless you want me to read those, Mr. McCauley.
You're welcome to read whatever you like.
All right. Going down to line 24, but there was no, did you attempt to reason with him while he was in this condition? Answer, no. And then skipping down to line 13, how about Carlos Ortiz? He's been on it as well, and he acted crazy on it as well. And what about Aaron Hernandez? I've never seen him on it.
Correct.
So when you said, in answer to the question that followed, in answer to the question about lacing marijuana, when you said, I don't know, I've never seen them do it, were you referring to never seen them making a angel dust cigarette?
Yes,
And at any point, you weren't referring to not having seen them smoke it.
no,
And at any point in your grand jury were you asked anything about the smell of angel dust?
I don't remember.
And were you asked anything about observing anyone sweating profusely?
I don't remember.
Now, the weekend of June 14 to 16, Father's Day weekend, when this
Yes.
started, were you aware that there was a wedding that weekend that Bo was planning to attend?
I don't remember.
Okay? I think you said on direct examination that Bo might have been in and out that weekend,
Yes,
and you might have seen him around the house but don't have a particular memory of it.
correct.
And I think you said that you took the dog out sometime late in the evening and saw Bo and Charlie Boy preparing to leave, correct?
Yes,
And I think you said they were getting into a silver car.
correct.
And Mr. McCauley asked you, and you said you passed about 8 or 10 feet from them.
Correct.
And did you notice anything about them as you were leaving the house?
As they were leaving?
Well, you were taking the dog out, right?
Yeah, I usually stand on my step and let the dog go out in the yard, and I stand by the door.
And did you see either Bo or Charlie Boy, or both, sweating profusely?
Both of them.
Okay, tell us about that.
They were just real jittery, sweating. I know Charlie Boy had a washcloth or a washcloth or a towel, and he wiped his face with it. And Bo, I believe he took his shirt and wiped his face with his shirt, or it could have been a towel.
Okay. And as far as you know, your dog finished its business and you went inside and the two of them left.
Yes.
Now, Mr. McCauley asked you some questions about Aaron's support
Yes.
for your family, right?
Yes.
Before this started happening, once Aaron turned professional, did he make any financial contributions to your family?
He would help once in a while, like when we were backed up on the bills and my sister needed help, or the house needed help, he would help, yes.
And you told us that at one point Cheyenne gave you some money for the boys.
Yes.
And was that the first time that Aaron had given money for the boys?
No.
That had happened on prior occasions?
Yes.
Okay. Had he given you money for the boys?
Yes. Well, most of the time, he would take them out himself and spoil them rotten. So,
But aside from treating them to things or buying things for them himself, are you aware that he gave money to Tanya to
help with,
support the boys?
yeah, to help with school clothes and stuff when school came around.
So when Cheyenne came to your house, as you say, in August, this was after Aaron had been arrested, correct?
Yes.
And so at some point, Cheyenne meets you and gives you some clothes for the boys.
Yes, and some backpacks and some pencils and stuff, school supplies for the kids.
And did she give you some money?
She may have, I don't actually remember, but could have been, I remember her giving me, I think it was like $180 one time or $200, something. But I'm not sure, I don't remember exactly.
You don't remember the exact amount,
No.
but it was in the area of a couple $100?
Yeah.
Now, Mr. McCauley asked you some questions about your sister Tanya and when she went to jail. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Now, what was the status of her health when she went to jail?
She was stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. It's terminal.
And you said that she was in jail for about 7 months?
Yes.
And how did her health fare while she was in jail?
It got worse while she was in jail.
Now, you testified about canteen money. Do you know what do you mean by that?
For commissary, for like food or cosmetics or things you may need to get by in there.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do you know anything about a trust fund?
No.
A trust fund? Are you
Like I
familiar
know
with
what it is.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you familiar with a trust fund for anybody?
No.
Okay. And when you were asked questions about this, apparently you do know something about PCP use?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you learn that?
Well, TL did PCP, Bo did it, Carlos did it, and there's been some people like one time.
Okay, well then you must have...
Sorry, Your Honor. Can the witness finish her answer?
Sure.
Please finish your answer.
Thaddeus's cousin, TL's cousin, was killed by her boyfriend on PCP.
Okay. And do you recall that I asked you, in terms of, so you have a memory of all those other things, right?
Of them using drugs, they've used drugs all their lives.
Right, but nothing interferes with your ability to remember that. You remember that fine?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you remember when I asked you, and this is at page 19, line 2, how would they use it? Right? And you said they would smoke it to my knowledge. I'm not sure. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so what were you uncertain about that?
Not sure, like, how they made it. I've never seen them, like, actually make the blunt or anything, or
Okay, but I
whatever you
wasn't
call
asking
it.
about making the blunt. I said, how would they use it? You
Objection,
said,
Your Honor.
Overruled.
how would they use it? They would smoke it. That had nothing to do with making it.
Well, I'm going to ask you not to make statements and ask questions.
How would they use it? You said they would smoke it, to my knowledge. I'm not sure. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. Had you ever seen it before?
The angel dust? No.
Okay. And had you ever seen it being smoked before?
Well, by them.
Okay, but then, and so then I said, and when they smoke it, do you know whether they would ever smoke it with marijuana cigarettes? Because angel dust, you know, can be laced, a marijuana cigarette with angel dust. You said, I'm not sure because I never saw them, you know, like doing it, because I was never around, so I don't know how they did it.
Correct.
Okay, so my question is, did you ever actually ever see anybody smoke it?
I've seen them smoking a cigar outside,
Okay.
not knowing what's in it, but the
Not-
distinctive smells, yes.
Okay, so you don't know what was in it?
Correct.
Okay. And apparently, there was other smoking going on in the home.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overall.
Were other people smoking in your home?
Correct.
Did that include the defendant, Aaron Hernandez?
He would smoke marijuana.
Okay, so you know he was smoking marijuana?
Yes.
Where would he be smoking?
He would sometimes smoke upstairs in the den area
Okay.
or outside.
Okay. And you weren't always around him when he was smoking, is that right?
No.
So you don't know what he was smoking?
Correct.
Okay. And these, when those questions, when Mr. Rankin read that long piece to you, that in terms of the grand jury questions that he reread to you, that question had asked about Thaddeus and Bo, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And Thaddeus, was he a friend of the defendant's?
Yes.
And Bo, was he a friend of the defendant's?
Yes.
And Carlos, was he a friend of the defendant's?
Yes.
And did they all smoke together?
Yes.
Okay. And did they smoke at your home?
Yes.
And you indicated, I think, at some point, you weren't around the house a lot, you would be in your room?
In my room, yes.
Okay. And so you really wouldn't know what they were smoking or what they were not smoking?
Correct, unless I went outside,
Okay, but I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, how many times did you actually indicate that you had gone outside and seen somebody smoking?
I don't remember how many times I've seen them, but I've seen them on a few occasions, smoking
Okay.
outside.
Okay. And the occasion that you're indicating you saw them, did you see them smoke, and who was smoking out there?
On the occasion that I smelled it when I took the dog out?
Yes. What you think?
It was it was Bo.
Okay. And was he by himself or with anyone else?
No, he was by himself.
Okay. And how many times did you see him?
Bo would go out often.
Okay, when you say often, how many times?
Sometimes he would go outside like 2 or 3 times in a day, and then, sometimes he would, it would go, weeks would go by, and then there would be nothing.
Okay, but how many times have you seen him in total outside smoking what you
I don't
described
remember.
as something, smelling something different?
I don't remember.
Just give us a ballpark.
Maybe 10 times, 15 times.
Okay. And you'd agree on those 15 occasions you didn't see him going crazy, right?
Oh, he would go crazy.
Okay, well, you described one occasion.
One time he came into the house and he was screaming at the top of his lungs and calling us all kinds of names and acting erratic. And I told my sister that she had to get him out the house.
Okay. And so, was he put out of the house?
Yes.
Okay. And then he came back to the house,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
And did he continue to live at your home?
Yes.
And these 2 little boys that were running around, were they still living in the home?
Yes.
Okay. So he wasn't so crazy that he couldn't live in the home, is that right?
No. He wouldn't be around the kids if he was on that.
Okay. So you're describing all these occasions, and yet he's continuing to live in your home.
Off and on, yes.
Okay. And continuing to associate with TL,
Yes.
Ortiz,
Objection to leading, Your Honor.
Sustained.
who else did he associate with?
Who?
Who else did Bo associate with?
Oh, TL, Carlos, he had a lot of friends.
Did that include the defendant?
Yes,
Okay. And this was before or after he had gone crazy?
well, he would be crazy for the moment that he smoked it. He wouldn't be crazy all the time,
Okay.
just
so-
the times that he smoked.
And so he was welcome at your home?
Not the times that where he was high, no.
Okay. Now, you used it, and you said, when asked by Mr. Rankin about how he acted, you said jittery and crazy. Are those your own words?
Yes,
Okay. And you indicated earlier that you'd been watching certain things on TV about this case?
just what they put on the news.
Okay. Do you recall seeing anything about a woman by the name of Irene Singleton?
No,
So it's your choice of words, jittery and crazy?
yes,
And do you know who Irene Singleton is?
yes,
And who is she?
Nana,
She's Nana?
yeah,
Is that what you call her?
yes,
Okay, she's your sister's mother-in-law?
grandmother-in-law,
I'm sorry, I beg your pardon, grandmother-in-law.
yes.
Okay. And when asked about your sister and being in jail, whose choice was it for your sister to be in jail?
Well, objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
You knew why she was in jail.
Objection.
Sustained.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask if we could play from certain portions from Exhibit 150, please.
Well, I'm going to object to that, Your Honor.
Directly relates to something on cross.
Yes, it does.
May.
May we come to sidebar?
May.
Your Honor, I'm going to camera 3, which is driveway at 12:01 system time. And I'm just going to ask you to look at your monitor and just watch. Ma'am, did you watch those few minutes of video?
Yes.
Okay. And did you observe two individuals in that video?
Yes.
And is their behavior consistent with somebody acting under the influence?
I'm not going to allow you to ask that question. You can ask her whether it's consistent with something, with behavior she has observed in the past. Your question is one that the ladies and gentlemen in the jury can assess for themselves.
Ma'am, is that behavior consistent with behavior that you've observed in the past?
Yes.
Okay.
At times.
I'm sorry?
Yes, at times.
Okay. And the behavior that you described as crazy and shouting, screaming, right? Did you see any of that behavior in this?
No, just the jitteriness, the walking back and forth, like, touching themselves or feeling themselves, and then changing in and out of clothes and stuff like that, yes.
And to the extent that you've seen that before, who did you see do that before?
Both Carlos and Ernest.
Okay. Could we go to the next clip, please?
Is the next clip more than 3 minutes?
I believe it is, Your Honor.
We're going to suspend at 1, so... unless you're going to stop the clip at 2.5 minutes to ask her a question, we
Okay.
should
Then
stop at this
I'll
point.
pass, Your Honor. If we could resume.
Always suspend for the day at this time. Keep in mind that there is no session tomorrow. We'll pick up on Thursday and Friday this week of full days. Please keep an open mind. Don't discuss any aspect of this case or your jury service or Mr. Hernandez with anyone at all by any means. And if anyone starts talking to you about the case, please end any type of communication immediately. Don't do any research about the case, Mr. Hernandez, or anything you think could be relevant to the case. Continue to avoid anything that there could be about the case in any form of any media, newspaper, radio, television, a magazine, or in any social media such as Facebook or Twitter. You may step down.
Thank you.
He. All persons having anything further to do before the Honorable, the Justice E. Susan Gosh of the Superior Court, now sitting at Fall River within and for the Commonwealth, depart and give your attendance here Thursday morning at 9 a.m., to which time and place the sitting of this court is now adjourned. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Court is now adjourned.